XRP holders, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Appreciate you guys as always. A lot to discuss because as we are starting off Thursday morning, we're seeing so much red across the board. Market was booming, Bitcoin reached a new all-time high yesterday, and just like that in a snap, we're seeing, that fun coming to an end. But just a quick reminder, because I know people have already forgotten what we're seeing over the last 1 week, over the last 1 month. And that is something that we don't want to be forgetting when we are analyzing the price of these assets. So what really ended up happening, we're going to go through that right now. I'm going to talk about XRP as well with you guys to really see what could be next. But right now, the price of XRP is at $3.08, down about 5.7% in USD and down about 2% in Bitcoin. Comparative valuation, 182.7 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at $11.6 billion. Shouldn't be a big surprise to any one of us right now. I cannot imagine the amount of longs that got liquidated. I haven't seen the liquidation numbers, but here we have it, and that is due to what's happening with Bitcoin. And speaking about Bitcoin, why is Bitcoin even reacting this way? Before we get into any further, though, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So what ended up happening was Treasury, Secretary Scott Bessent was on an interview at CNBC. And during the CNBC interview, he stated that, US, like this is what he said, US is not going to be buying Bitcoin. And when you're seeing it coming from the Treasury Secretary, of course it's going to have a reaction to that. But a lot of people have already forgotten one thing. This has not been something brand new. We've been knowing about this in the past. They've said that, the coins that they are going to be holding are the ones that they're going to be confiscating from obviously the bad actors, and they're going to be holding on to them and creating a treasury around it. But of course, when he said this on an interview, when the market is booming, it is going to have a reaction. And I think that is the main reason why we did see the price of Bitcoin, pulling down. You can see this for yourself on the daily time frame. I cannot imagine the liquidation numbers here, but see this for yourself. From yesterday all-time high, we have dropped about almost 6% for Bitcoin. And, a lot of longs probably got liquidated. So again, one continuous reminder why you want to stay away from leverage trading platform, but yet you're still not seeing the dominance moving. A very, very interesting thing. So dominance is still yet to move towards the upside. It's still showing a lot of weakness. With the way Bitcoin dropped today, the dominance is still sitting at these levels. I personally believe this is going to be short-lived, this retracement that we're seeing right now. But shortly after the interview and the reaction to Bitcoin, look what Treasury Scott has come out and said. Bitcoin that has been finally forfeited to the federal government will be the foundation of the strategic Bitcoin reserve that President Trump established in his March executive order. Again, something we know about, not brand new. We've been knowing about this. In addition, Treasury is committed to exploring budget-neutral pathways to acquire more Bitcoin, to expand the reserve, and to execute the president's promise to make the US the Bitcoin superpower of the world. So now you're seeing a little bit of a switch in wording. It's committed to exploring budget neutral. So are they going to, in the future, maybe as of now, they don't have any plans. You need to understand this. As of now, they don't have any plans that the US will be actually going and buying Bitcoin on the market. But could that change? These are some of the very, very key things that we want to be paying attention to. But take a look at this. SEC has delayed its decision on the Bitwise spot Solana ETF, extending the review period for the application. There we have it. We thought that this was going to come to an end, but, they came out and said, nope, not yet. And they have delayed that. So that's quite interesting. Obviously, it's something we need to keep in mind. But remember, RippleNet depends much on XRP. I talked to you guys about RippleNet quite a bit, but, shout out to Smoke for, posting this. XRP will always work as a medium for RippleNet. Ripple Labs even wants to push the XRP to a larger platform in this day and age and play a greater role. Ripple Labs put its effort into making XRP more useful around the globe. And with RippleNet and the ISO standard coming in play, giving these financial institutions a chance of actually using RippleNet, that's where XRP already kicks into the picture if you understand how RippleNet works. But moving forward, ISO 20022 will enable richer data to travel with payments, making it possible for funds to move more seamlessly between legacy networks like Swift and modern gateways such as Ripple. And take a look at this. In this interview with CNBC, you could see it says the last 10 years of crypto was basically all retail. Now the institutional wave has begun. It's here. And you could see this is pretty much an interview with the CEO of, Bullish, the stock that has, sorry, not a CEO, but like an employee of, Bullish, and pretty much kind of talking about why they have gone public. But remember, we've been talking about that IPO craze, and I think that's not going to stop. And this is, of course, another example right in front of us. But Bitcoin, $118,000 right now, of course, saw a 6% retracement. We do have significant amount of support around here. I still think we have a lot of time to push back above 120, before we close the day. And that itself is only going to be a move of about, you could say, at 1.74%, and I can actually see that happening, before the day comes to an end. But if you're looking at XRP and has seen this retracement, anyone that's going to be surprised at this, I hope you guys are not surprised, because if you're looking at the broader market, it speaks for itself. But XRP dropped down to $3 price point, which is a 10% drop in the last 24 hours. But take a look at this. Look where we got stopped out. You can't make this up, right at the neckline of $3, and we have seen since bounce, and of course that is to be expected. So if you had your buy orders placed in around here, you are seeing about a 2% increase. Nothing crazy, but of course time and time out showing the importance of that key range. But I'll keep you guys covered. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And yeah, if you're in for the long haul, then your patience is your number one key to follow, because these types of price action will occur. And look how good we're holding. Still, a lot of people are sleeping at the fact that we're literally on the verge of breaking an all-time high. I love you all. See you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.